out for my dreams, I reached out for my vision, I reached out for help that I thought I needed. Cause reaching out is the proof of passion.
Hello again, our most valued student. My name is Confident. Welcome to our lesson today, and we are looking at factorizing the quadratic trinomial. And in this type of a problem, what we're given here is a quadratic trinomial which has got higher powers more than that of 2. Now, it might look a bit different from the normal quadratic trinomial in which we are given ax squared plus bx plus c, in which now the highest power is a 2. But also this is a quadratic trinomial that is hidden in some way. Now, how do you go about solving this quadratic trinomial? So the first part that I want you to do is to come up with the square part in each and every one of these. Now, for example, 36, remember you want to form a quadratic trinomial. Now 36, if you multiply divide it by 2, you're going to have 18. So if you divide 36 divided by 2, you're going to get 18. So now you can rewrite this as m squared times 18. See, now there is the square part that I was telling you about. Let me just make it much bigger. So in here you've got m squared, which you're going to multiply by 18, and plus 3m 18 minus a 10. So in this case, what you can do is you can now approach this as to say, I can even write it like this: m18 with a 2 in the other side plus 3m18 minus a 10. So in this case now, you can come now and say let m18 be equal to k. So now in other ways, where there is this m18, you are going to put your k. Where there is this m18, you are going to put a k. So that's what is going to happen. So whenever there is this m18, you're going to put a k. So now what are we having here? In this case, you see m18 is the k, but there is a 2 that is outside. So here it will become k squared plus 3k minus a 10. That's what you'll be having. So now remember, we dealt with in one of the lessons, we dealt with a product sum method. In this case, whereby the product, which is the times, is the number that you multiply that and that gives you the product, and the center one is the sum. So the product in this case is k times 10 is minus 10 k squared, and the sum is the center number, which is a positive 3k. I'll advise you to go to the previous lessons where we did a product sum so that you can understand. Now the factors of 10, what are the factors of 10? Is 1 times 10 and it's a 2 times a 5. So now I'm looking for two numbers. When I multiply them, product, I get a negative 10, which means one of the numbers here must be negative. Remember, if one of the numbers is negative, I'll get a negative 10. But when I add them, I must get a positive 5. I mean a positive 3. So if I take my calculator and play around with my calculator, you can see what I'm talking about. If I say 1 times negative 10, I'll always get a negative. Or if I can say negative 2 times 5, as long as one of the numbers is negative, I will get the negative number, which is shown there. But the tricky part is the sum, whereby the sum must be a 3. So the first one, 1 and 10, cannot give me a 3, but between 2 and 5, I can get a 3. If I can say 2 minus 5, I'm getting a negative 3, but if I can say 5 minus 2, I get a positive 3. So since I need a positive 3, the bigger number must be positive and the smaller number must be negative. So in this case, it is minus 2. It was 5 minus 2, so it's minus 2 plus 5. So it's minus 2x and a positive 5x. So these are the two numbers that I'm looking for. So when I write it again, in this case, I'm going to have now, actually I used x, is not supposed to be x, it's supposed to be k. So it's minus 2k and 5k. So now if I write what I have, I've got k squared minus 2k plus 5k minus a 10. If I consider the first two here, k is common, which is k minus 2, and looking also at the second two, you can see 5 is common, so positive 5, which is k minus 2. So how do you write the final answer? So if I can continue here, I've got now my bracket, which is k minus 2 and k plus 5, what is outside the bracket. So, but the thing is, I was not given a k in the beginning, I was given m. But don't forget, we said where there is k, you put m18. So here you put your m18, and here you replace it with your m18. So the final answer now becomes m18 minus 2 and m18 plus a 5. Then this becomes the final answer in this case. Let us move on again to look at the quadratic trinomial that is hidden, but still it needs you to use the concept of factorizing a quadratic trinomial. In this case, you are given here 3, 1 plus 2k squared minus 8, 1 plus 2k minus 3. Now, the simple thing that I'll suggest with you is you look at the bracket and say, let this be your x. Look at the bracket again and say, let that be x. So what you are having is, we are going to have 3x, but remember there is a square there, so it will be 3x squared minus 8x minus a 3. So now if we're going to use the concept of a product sum method in this case, and again, as I said, the product means you take that and multiply with that. So here you're multiplying 3 times minus 3, which is your product. You multiply, which is equal to minus 9x squared, and your sum is the number at the center, which is your positive. So now my product here is negative 9x squared. The signs are very important. My sum is minus 8x. So now I'm looking for two numbers. When I multiply them, I get a negative 9. When I add them, I get a negative 8. So in this case, you just have to focus on the factors of 9. Now what are the factors of 9? It's 1. Don't worry with the sign. 1 times 9 at the moment, and 3 times 3. So these are the factors of 9, or these are the two different ways of getting a 9. Now when you have got these two numbers, you need to look now to say, okay, I must get a negative. So if I bring my calculator, when I multiply these two numbers, for me to get a negative, it means one of them must be negative. For example, 1 times a negative 9, you can see that it gives me a negative 9. And a 3 times a negative 3, as long one of them is negative, it will always give me a negative number. Now, with that being done, the multiplication one is not a problem. The key one that is going to give you the signs of the n of these two numbers to say which one is the sum. So you need to get a negative 8. You can see that the 3 and the 3 cannot give me 8. Whether I'm adding or subtracting, I can only get a maximum of 6 if I'm adding. So my key is 1 and 9. How can I get a negative 8? If I say 1 minus 9, I'm getting a negative 8. So it means 1 must be positive and 9 must be negative. So you can see here that 1 positive and 9 negative. So I have got the factors being negative 1x and positive 1x and negative 9x. So now if you continue writing this, you are going to have 3x squared. Where there was minus 8x, you write the two numbers, which is plus x squared, plus x or 1x, which is the same, minus 9 minus 3. So this x minus 9x is still your negative 8x. So if you consider the first two, what is common is your x. So you have got your 3x plus 1. You must also get the same bracket in the second one. What is common between minus 9 minus 3x is a negative 3. 3 into 9 is again 3x plus a 1. So now you can see that the brackets are the same. So you're going to have a 3x plus 1 and an x minus a 3. So you have factorized, but remember, you did not begin with a what? You didn't begin with an x. So now what you need to do is to take it back to k. Remember, you said let x was equal to 1 plus 2k. So now what you need to do is to take your bracket. I think the best is to open a bigger bracket. And when you open a bigger bracket, you are having a 3. And into, remember, the x is 1 plus 2k. You close that, plus 1. And then you open, you close the bigger bracket, you open a bigger one, it's x minus 3, which is 1 plus 2k minus a 3. My space was limited there. So if you continue, the 3 in this case here, the 3 multiplies the 1 and the 3 multiplies the 2k. So what you're going to be having is 3 plus 6k plus 1, and you have got the 1 plus 2k minus a 3. So now you have to add the numbers together, which is 6k plus 4, because 3 plus 1 is a 4, and 2k minus a 2. Now that is how you can factorize that. But something is interesting here. This can still continue, whereby between 6k and 4k there is a 2 that is common. You can factorize it out, as well as between 2k and minus 2 there is another 2 that you can take out. So if you take the first 2 into 6k, it will be 3k plus 2, and in the second one it will be k minus 1. So now you multiply the 2 that are outside. 2 times 2 is a 4. So you have got 3k plus 2, and you have got a k minus 1. This is now what they mean when they say factorize completely. So you'll get more marks for taking it until the last end, and this is such a good problem for you to do your practice. Now we have come to the end of our lesson. See you again in the next lesson, whereby we keep on looking at more problems that include factorizing a quadratic trinomial. Thank you.
I reached out for my dreams, I reached out for my vision, I reached out for help that I thought I needed. Cause reaching out is the proof of it.